In this video, I answer the question, can Tesla go to $400? And stay to the end, I'll give you 3 triggers to look at that might be a good time to sell this stock. Before I dive in, if you're new to investing or want to get better at investing, you're in the right place. Here at Tykr, we're all about clear, confident investing. Okay, to see where Tesla is going, I'm going to use the 4M analysis. This is inspired by Warren Buffett, and that phrase 4M is really coined by Phil Town. If you're interested, you can use Tykr, specifically the 4M Confidence Booster, which is powered by OpenAI, what could take you hours, if not days of research, can reduce that down to seconds. I'm going to do this a little more manual to give us more context, but essentially the 4 M's are as follows. The first M is the math part of investing. That's called the margin of safety. Second M is the meaning. That's the business model. How many revenue streams does the business have? And how scalable are those revenue streams? Scalable means a business can increase its revenue much faster than its liabilities. The biggest liability would be payroll. The third M is the moat. That's how a business stacks up against other companies in the same sector and industry. And that last M is the management. That's the track record of the CEO. If you can check all 4 boxes, you have yourself a great stock to buy. All right, let's go ahead and dive into Tykr. There are 3 things I look at first. I look at the summary to make sure a stock is on sale. I also look at the score. The higher the score, the safer the investment. And then I look at the margin of safety. The higher the margin of safety, the higher potential returns you can make. All right, so Tesla is on sale. It's green, which is good. For context there, stocks in Tykr are either on sale, watch, or overpriced. Then the score is 72 out of 100, which is pretty good. And then check this out, the margin of safety, 80%. That tells us the upside potential of the stock. The share price is $232. Upside potential is a little over $1,000. That's where the price could go in the next 10 years. Now, if you're interested, you can go to tykr.com, go to education, and then down to calculations. You can actually read the calculations that power Tykr. And as we tell our customers, you can go ahead and create your own version of Tykr if you really like. So with that first M in Tykr, we're going to go ahead and check that box. Now let's go ahead and move on to the meaning. So a lot of people are familiar with Tesla, but they probably aren't aware of all the revenue streams in the business. Now let's go to the website and scroll across the top. You can see here vehicles. That's pretty straightforward. You have the Model S, the Model 3, the Model X, the Model Y, and Cybertruck. And then you have energy. A lot of people are not familiar with this part of the business. They make solar panels, solar roofs, they have the Powerwall, and then Megapack. And then they have charging. You can see here charging, home charging, and supercharging. And something you have to point out is Tesla's essentially created a utility where other companies, including their competitors, will be using these charging stations. Some of those companies include Ford, GM, Rivian, Volvo, Polestar, Mercedes-Benz, Nissan, Fisker, Honda, Acura, Jaguar, Hyundai, Kia, BMW, Toyota, and Lexus. Now, this is one of my favorite parts of their business model. When you can create a utility that's so good that your competitors use it, that's a great place to be. Unfortunately, the charging stations only make up for about 10% of the revenue. Now, to zoom out for a second, some people classify Tesla as an automobile manufacturer and some people classify it as a tech company. It really doesn't matter. Don't split hairs on what you would classify the company as. What is important is the various revenue streams within the business, and Tesla has a lot. So for that reason, we can go ahead and check that box as well. Now let's move on to the moat. This is where we have a risk. So some of the big players out there include BYD, GM, Ford, and VW. There's also a long list. I found an article from cleantechnica.com that outlines the top 10 best-selling EVs of 2024. So here we are. Number 1 is the Tesla Model Y. That's good for you Tesla investors out there. Number 2 is the BYD Song. Number 3 is the Tesla Model 3. So that's also a good sign. Then number 4, we have the Huawei M7. Number 5 is the BYD Quinn Plus. Number 6 is the BYD Seagull. Number 7 is the BYD Dolphin. Number 8 is the BYD Yuan Plus. Number 9 is the Chang'an Lumen. And number 10 is the Wuling Hongguang Mini EV. Hopefully I didn't slaughter the names too bad. But essentially, Tesla has 2 spots, whereas BYD has 5 spots in the top 10. More and more competitors are coming out with other EVs. And when the rubber meets the road and people are about to buy an EV, yes, Tesla has a strong brand moat, but there are people that shop by price. They're going to kind of weigh a Tesla versus another vehicle, and that other vehicle may come at a lot lower price. And guess what? they're going to go with a lower priced option. That is a problem for Tesla investors, so keep that in mind. So in this case, because the moat is shrinking, we are not going to check that box. Let's move on to that last M, which is management. Let's talk about Elon Musk. So some people love him, some people hate him. Regardless, he does have a track record of generating big returns for investors. His first big business or big success was PayPal. That was very successful. And then on to Tesla. Tesla has also made a lot of money for shareholders. I know sometimes he says dumb things on X. He is innovative and he does think way ahead of the trend. So because of his returns to shareholders and what he's doing with technology, I do give him credit there. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and check that box as well. Before I talk about where the share price can go, let's talk about some of the news that happened recently. All right, so if we jump into Tykr and we go to the 3-month chart, there was a pretty significant jump that happened in June. Share price went from about 197 up to about 246, an increase of somewhere around 35%, give or take. And the question is, how did that happen? Well, there are really two key drivers there. Number one is they delivered 440 some thousand vehicles during the second quarter of 2024, which is down 4.7% from a year ago, but 1.8% ahead of expectations. Let me say that again, 1.8% ahead of expectations. That combined with the news of Tesla now being able to be sold in China was enough to drive the share price up 35% in the week. This tells us there are a lot of super fans of Tesla on both the retail and institutional side. So again, the slightest bit of good news can cause the share price to go through the roof. Now let's flip that equation and look at July. Well, they had their recent earnings report. If we take a look here, go to the earnings tab in Tykr, you can see they had their estimate at 62 cents and they came in at 52 cents. That's a miss of 16%. That right there, that can cause the stock to go down. So we go back to the Tykr rating, we go to 1 month. We can see here it went from 246 down to 215. That's quite a significant drop in a short amount of time. Another issue that Tesla is facing is 1.85 million US Teslas are now being recalled due to unlatched hood issues. This includes 2021 to 2024 Model 3, Model S, Model X, and Model Y. So because of the EPS miss and issue recalls, the share price can tank overnight. So to kind of zoom out for a second, this tells us that a little bit of good news can cause this stock to skyrocket, but some bad news can cause it to go the other direction like that. Now, to answer the question, can Tesla go to $400? The answer is yes, and it can probably go there in the next 2 to 3 years. Now, do set expectations. It could be a very volatile ride. Again, like I just said, a little bit of good news can cause the price to go up. Bad news, price can go down. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, here are 3 key triggers to pay attention to that might cause investors to sell. Number 1 is a declining EPS over 3 consecutive quarters. So let's go ahead, we'll go to the financials tab, we'll go to earnings per share. I just want to stop here for a second. I've talked about this in other videos. There's a lot of investors out there I see in YouTube or Reddit or X that'll talk about all these other metrics to pay attention to, such as P/E ratios and market cap and charts and graphs. None of that matters. What matters most is EPS, which is essentially the profits of the company. I've worked for several publicly traded companies. When you're in those boardrooms, what they care about most is profits. So check this out. If you're looking at the EPS, you can see here, March, their earnings report is at 37 cents. Then it went up to 46 cents. If we were to see 3 consecutive quarters, let's say it's like instead of 46, it goes down to 40, then 35, then 30, we've got ourselves a problem. But it's not just 2 quarters, but 3. That's when institutions could really start selling off, and you want to get out before you lose a lot of money. Number 2 would be 3 consecutive misses on earnings. Now, if we go back here, you go to the earnings calendar, they already have 4. If we were to add another 2 or 3 more, that could cause more institutions, these large financial institutions, to keep selling off more. That does not give them confidence. Right now, Tesla's kind of getting a pass. Their share price is still kind of increasing a little bit because of that good news, but these misses, this is not good. This is like walking on thin ice. We want to be really careful with this. We had a 16% miss here. If we start seeing some bigger misses, like 3 in a row that are like, 15, 17, 20, 25%, we've got ourselves a problem. And the third thing, we probably won't see this in 2024. Maybe 2025 is when we might, or maybe 2026, as we start hearing news of a competitor like BYD or Volkswagen or GM or Ford taking significant market share. Like if we see a news headline that says they sold X amount of vehicles more than Tesla, like a massive number, that headline could be scary for Tesla investors. Be very careful. That's why what I like to do is if I'm investing in a company, I like to go into the news tab, not every day, but at least once a week, and see what are the headlines here. And if you see anything like that, definitely please share with the rest of the Tykr community so we know what's going on with Tesla. I don't invest in Tesla. I've got a short list of 10 really strong stocks, so just be careful with Tesla. This could be a roller coaster ride down to 150 and back up to 400 in a short amount of time, just because good news, bad news, good news, bad news, back and forth. It could be a wild ride. I hope this video gives you a little more context on what could happen with Tesla. If you like this video, please hit that like button. If you want to see more videos like it, please hit that subscribe button. And if you're interested in buying and selling stocks with confidence, you can go ahead and join Tykr for free. And if you do click down below, there's a free training titled The 3-Step Plan to Buy and Sell Stocks with Confidence. Thanks for checking out this video. We'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.